Yo, what's up guys, welcome back. So I'm excited for this one. Justice Hunters is finally out for us here in the TCG. I was looking forward to this because 3 of the archetypes, there are in Justice Hunters, they are superb. They will, change the format or break the format wide open, and they have, at least 2 of them, have a lot of synergy with Monarch, so Monarch profile coming up soon. The first one, actually 2. First of all, we have Dracotail featuring K9. Dracotail is a fusion-based archetype. You have ways to, combine it with other archetypes. For now, you can't really run a deck on its own, so you need to search for other archetypes. Probably for now the best one is K9, but there's other options, more of them in a few moments. First of all, huge shout out to TCG Vision, again helping me getting these cards. So I will leave a link to his card market in the video description, so definitely check him out. Huge shout out to him. Okay, so deck list, 40 cards in the main deck, so let's dig in, right? Don't want to waste that much time. So extra deck in a few moments, let's put that one here. It's super straightforward. The deck has a lot of ultra rares, but Justice Hunters, 3 new archetypes, and most of the good ones are indeed UR, so it is what it is. But the advantage though is that this deck will probably, you can play this deck probably for a long time after this. So the first one here is, I think, one of the best ones next to their Stratos, and that's Phimena, I believe her name is. Basically, she's your fusion card. So the quick effect works during your opponent's turn, discard to fusion summon. Keep in mind you can't use her, at least use her as a fusion material when she's discarded, so it's the polymerization. All of the Dragontail monsters, as you know, have the capability that when they are used for a fusion summon, you can directly set your Draco or any Dracotail spell or trap from the deck, and that's insane. That's really insane. So this is a 3-off, definitely. Spellcaster and your polymerization. The next one is Lucius, Lucias. That's your Stratos from the deck, and of course also works whenever, it's sent to the graveyard, it sets a Draco spell, Dracotail spell or trap. The next one is also a 3-off, and that's basically your polymerization 2.0, but it's also a quick effect, but during your opponent's turn as well. So you probably want to end on this one and then, use its effect to fusion summon during their turn. Keep in mind, this one, Pan, and the other one, Urgala, they also have another beneficial effect when they are used for a fusion summon. When this one is fused for a fusion, set Dracotail spell or trap, plus when this one is sent to the graveyard for a fusion summon, it becomes an effect failure, so it negates a face-up card from your opponent, or monster rather. The last monsters are just fine as a one-off. You don't need more of these, but these are perfect. So the first one is Urgala. Urgala, again, just like Pan, whenever sent, you set from the deck, right? Just like any other Dracotail, but they also have beneficial effects. Urgala will Mystical Space Typhoon something, pop something, spell or trap, while Pan pops a monster. So, quite convenient, but they also have a graveyard effect. Pan reborns something, reborns itself, right, whenever your fusion is destroyed, and Urgala can send itself back to the deck, so that's crucial to get another name, to get a spellcaster, looking at the other ones, right, most of the other ones, to get the spellcaster Dracotail back to the hand, so really, really nice. Now, the spells, and that's where hits the fan, right? These spells are insane. One of the strongest spells from past years being Rahu. Rahu is your Brandon fusion, your Brilliant fusion, as what I like to call because of, extra deck monarchs, but it basically lets you fusion summon the fusion archetypes, your Dracotail fusions, by using materials from the deck. Small gimmick though is the fusions from your, your Dracotail need 1 monster in your hand. But searchable, right? Reset it or directly set it from the deck. Brilliant fusion. Insane card, and this is also an insane card. It's a Rota, just a Rota, but as soon as your opponent controls a monster, so let's say if you're going second, it becomes a polymerization as well. So it searches basically any of your Dracotail monsters, and then if your opponent controls a monster, it becomes a polymerization. So really, really nifty. Last but not least, the last 2 Dracotail cards. Horn is basically a compulse, but it targets, it picks an opponent's monster when it's in attack position. It bounces itself back, while Flame is a spell and trap negator, right? So again, both of them can be set from the deck, plus they are, at least your opponent can edge them because you can draw a card eventually. So when you're activating those, send 1 Dracotail from your grave back to the deck to draw 1. So again, you also have a way to recur stuff. Really nice. So that's basically it for the Dracotail package for this particular deck. Alright, so the other engine currently, right, it's the second archetype from Justice Hunters, and it works quite conveniently. It's one of those cards that, sure, probably the most expensive one is Izuna, but seeing that this archetype is super splashable in a lot of other decks, it's definitely something you might want to get as soon as possible, right? So let's see, K9 as an extending engine for, in this case, your Dracotail. The first one is your starter for now, that's Yugioh. Yugioh searches one of your monsters, your K9 monsters from the deck, plus it extends from the hand. So reveal, special summon, right, and then special summon any of your level 5s from the hand. That's nice to get started, because if your opponent is not using any hand trap, you could kind of get, you know, your K9 stuck in your hand. Izuna is an insane card. It also works during your opponent's turn. As soon as they activate a monster effect, looking at hand traps or any monster effect, then it can drop itself to the field to foolish something. That will be Lupus. Lupus again can reborn itself and then quick exceed also during your opponent's turn, for example. So this basically is a super generic hand trap package that could be played turn 0, right, next to your Dracotail engine as well. So there are, you know, next level power creep, a lot of tier, at least turn 0 plays. The last K9 monster just fine is a one-off, basically a reborn, right, so special summon itself to reborn any of your level 5s. So again, an easy rank 5 exceeds play, plus this one searches the spells from K9. There's 2. This is just fine as a one-off, your Rota, I guess, continuous spell, and whenever it's popped, it searches this one, your quick play spell, so using any K9 exceed to overlay it for your werewolf, right, to pop an extra card. Super staple, because your Ripper, where is it, yeah, soon in the extra deck, can indirectly, well, directly search this if your opponent activated a monster effect. So, you know, as soon as your opponent uses a hand trap, you can stop the hand trap with like Ash Blossom, looking at, you know, like Merle Charmy. They're in for a lot of trouble, right? So that's basically it for K9. Alright, last but not least, you have hand traps, non-engine. So the deck, as you saw, there is not that much space for non-engine for hand traps, but I mean, you have a lot of turn 0 and your opponent starts, you can fusion summon, you can drop the K9 stuff, so there are already main deck hand traps, but I think these are fairly staple for now. As well, you know, we're waiting on the ban list post-Worlds probably, but the 6 Charmies, I think, especially Fualos, is definitely a staple. Same for Ash to negate your opponent's Charmies. It is what it is. And both of these are just filler. Called by the Grave, looking at, again, your opponent's Charmies and Ash on your Brilliant Fusion, right, and Talents as a 40th card. Super generic, especially when you get trolled, for example, right? You know the deal. So 40 cards sharp in the main deck. Okay, let's take a look at the extra deck. Okay, so extra deck. The first one is definitely a 3-off. This is, I call it the Guardian Chimera of the deck. So it needs at least one Dracotail monster. That can be one from the deck, for example, with your Brilliant Fusion, and at least one monster from hand. So that can be more. The thing is that when this one is fusion summoned, you can bounce cards from both players' fields and or graveyard back to the hand. So technically, when this summoned, let's say during your opponent's turn, it could potentially take an Ash from your graveyard back to the hand. That's quite convenient. Plus, just like the other one, like this one, they both have the effect that when they are in the graveyard, and as soon as either from both players, 2 or more monsters, 2 monsters are sent to the graveyard at the same time, you can reborn them. This one doesn't really do that much. It's basically a vanilla then, you know, it's just a big beat stick. But this one, your, what is it, Gulamel, unlike this one that bounces, this one pops once per turn basically. So as soon as you activate a Dracotail card effect and your opponent doesn't chain or, you know, interrupts you, you can use Gulamel to pop a card. Again, really nice, also can reborn itself, so I feel this is just perfect. 5 of them. The 6th fusion is Secretarial Dragon. This is just for the mirror match, probably. I think it's needed. Maybe you could side deck it. I don't know. Okay, so for the exceeds, for K9, we have Ripper. I'm always see myself to add in a second Ripper because it's so good. Negates Nibiru, for example. It searches insane card. To upgrade the Ripper for Werewolf, again, we talked about that in a few moments ago. Kincas is basically a reborn level 5, right? Could extend and interrupt as well. This is probably going to get banned, not going to lie. Master Duel banned this card a couple of days ago, but this might get banned. And what is it? The Psychic Blaster might be a nice replacement for this. The Shark package instant staple. Nash Knight into, where is it? Masquerade as an attach. Suck up your or attach one of your opponent's monsters. Overlay for, you know, C, Chaos, X Knight. And go for this one, for what is it? Masquerade, right? Pop a card, negate stuff. Insane engine, not going to lie. The last is also a filler card, but you can't go wrong with Little Knight, right? So 15 cards in the extra deck. Before a combo, maybe some budget options, because, you know, these tend to be quite expensive, especially the first few days or few weeks when the set is released, right? But if you don't have K9, but you want to play Dracotail, this is also an option, as we've seen in the OCG with King of the Swamp. I'm looking at Dragoon, you know, the Dark Magician Red Eyes, Dragoon, Shuttle Beast for, where is it, Winda, right? Fright Fur package with Edge Imp Chain, Polarization, you know, like these are all options, as we've seen in the OCG with Triple Beast to potentially Winda on turn 0. That's cool, not that consistent, but it's more budget. So, you know, you could definitely try this one out. Alright, combo time. I have 2 combos ready, but again, they're super straightforward. Imagine you have at least one Lucias as a Dracotail monster that you're going to normal summon, and at least one other monster, and then 3 other blanks in your hand. So let's go for this 1.5 card combo, basically. Lucias is basically your Stratos, so that will search any Dracotail monster right from the deck, and it will add that one to the hand. 5 mana, you know, discard, quick fusion, polymerization, basically. So now you're going to use this one effect, discard herself to fusion summon basically 1 from field, 1 other random monster from the hand. To special summon, where is it? I'm not going to butcher its name, but you know, I call it Guardian Chimera from the deck. Side note, I like the fact that you could go first and then use your Mulcharmies as the material from hand needed. So I guess that you know, kind of helps out, that if you're not going second, the Mulcharmies still come in handy, right? As the second monster, at least a second monster needed for the fusion material. So Chainlinks, it's up to you. You could go Chainlink 1, this one, where is it? Chainlink 2, your Lucias, right? Lucias will set 1 Dracotail spell and trap or trap from the deck directly to the field. That's going to be your Brilliant Fusion, or Brandon Fusion, however you want to call it, right? And then your Fusion will trigger getting back, because I can still use her, you know, regular effect back to the hand. So we set this one. This is currently our field. Doesn't really seem too threatening, right? Next, we are going to use the Rahu, you know, your Brilliant Fusion. We're using at least 1 monster from our deck. Where is it? That's going to be the other quite conveniently level 6 one. That's going to be this one. Send it to the graveyard. And our 5 mana, because we have to use a monster from hand. Both will trigger in a few moments to go for the second fusion. Monster zone's not that important now. This won't do much for now on the field, unless, you know, you're using effects, and if your opponent controls a monster, you can pop a card, because now you're using these 2. Okay, so both of them will trigger, and basically you're setting both traps directly from the deck. So, you know, Horn is basically your compulse, and Flame is your, I will call it Infernity Barrier, but, you know, it negates phase-up spell or traps. You know what I mean. So both are set directly to the field. So essentially now, off of 1 card and 1 discard basically, you're ending on 2 fusions, and as soon as you activate Dracotails, you get a pop right during your turn or during your opponent's turn, and you have both traps, which could net you draws plus interruption. Last but not least, because the combo is not over yet, you can use, and that's convenient, looking at Monarchs in a few days, is you can use Urgula from the graveyard, send itself back to the deck, and then you can take 1 Spellcaster Dracotail from the deck back to the from the graveyard back to the hand, so you can get back 5 mana. So that's super convenient, right? So that's basically your hand. So this gives you a lot of interruptions during your opponent's turn, right? Plus they can recur themselves when they're in the graveyard. You have the traps to pop to potentially draw for you know, more hand traps. So that's really convenient. Alright, the last combo again, 1 card, 1.5, because again you need a random monster from the hand. This time we're starting off with Rahu, again your Brilliant Fusion, your Brandon Fusion. So let's go for it. We're using the spell card, right? So now we're forced to at least use 1 monster from the deck and 1 monster from your hand. So we're sending 5 mana, quick play Polymerization to the graveyard, and then 1 random monster from the hand. That can be, you know, your Mulcharmies, that's fine though. To fusion summon, basically the same. go for this one. As you know, this one bounces back, right? So with the Chainlinks, Chainlink 1 and Chainlink 2, this one triggers and directly sets one Dracotail spell or trap from the deck. Now, and this is something that we haven't seen in the previous combo, you're setting K2, you know, your K2 is your Rota, right? This one resolves as well, getting here in this case the 5 mana back to the hand. So again, very similar, right? Very similar as the combo before this one. Next, we're using the Rota to search, where is it? The Lucas, I'll just call it Lucas. It's my son that was born a couple of days ago. Lucas, whenever he is summoned, he will search any Dracotail from the deck. This searches Urgula, and again, now we're basically in the same position as we've been before. This one is going to the grave because our opponent is not controlling any monsters. Now we can go for the fusion summon, so we discard 5 mana to the graveyard and then fusion summon using 2 monsters, at least one from hand and one from graveyard. We're going for the second fusion, again the one that basically pops whenever you're using your Dracotail cards. Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2 doesn't really matter that much here. In this case, both were sent for a fusion summon. So again, you're able to set both traps, right? So again, more interruption during your opponent's turn, plus potential draw. Don't forget, you still have your Urgula from the graveyard, so use its effect, send itself back to the deck, and then take back the 5 mana. So essentially, as you saw, both these 1-card combos are ending you with the same end board. For again, 1 card, so keep in mind you could have K9 in your hand traps or whatever, right? So super nifty. Okay, that's basically it. Dracotail K9. So definitely take a look at the yummy deck profile. Should be up by this time as well. Yeah. Let me know, do you like these kind of profiles? Feel free to leave suggestions. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Riddim signing out. Peace.